From the corners of the internet to the wave signals in your brain, you are now synced into All Aware. Against the norm, you are expanding your mind and educating your soul. Your journey has begun. Let the transmissions commence. Welcome to reality.
Broadcasting from the heart of it all in Columbus, Ohio. This is All Aware. Please stand by for your host, Nathan Roshawn.
Hello family, and we are back for another episode of All Aware. I am Nathan Roshawn. On the program tonight, we're going to talk about universal laws, the universal laws of oneness, of attraction, of gender, of karma, of abundance. We're going to discuss all these laws, all these patterns that have happened in humanity since the beginning of creation. They're not talked about a lot in your educational systems. And unless you're involved in a spiritual teachings or in some kind of a wisdom school, you might not know much about them. But they're very, very important. And most religions don't even cover all of these. Some of them are in their practices, but they don't set it aside and teach you each of these lessons. So we're going to discuss these lessons today, these laws, these patterns. And by knowing these patterns and these universal ways of being, it will greatly help your life. Now, by just knowing them doesn't mean all your problems are going to be taken away, but it can show you why problems are happening, and it can help you rewire your mindset so that when things happen, when your life is a little rougher than you want it to be, you'll know how to get out of it. But before we do that, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the news today. We all remember Flight MH370, which disappeared over the South China Sea on March 8th, 2014. An 86-year-old mystic or witch doctor named Matt Zinn might have an answer to what happened to that flight. And it's probably nothing you've ever heard before. Matt Zinn believes the plane is in a parallel realm and it will be missing for 25 years. He believes that in 2039, the plane may reappear and all the passengers may still be alive. He states, the air is different in that parallel realm. A month is like a day. That is definitely some out-of-the-box ideas and thinking. And I guess we'll know by 2039 if he's correct. A Florida man, Joshua Eccles, was scuba diving off the coast of Jupiter, Florida in the Atlantic Ocean when he noticed something from a passing shark. A lemon shark continuously bumped into him underwater as he was diving. When he took a closer look, he noticed there was a hook on the underside of the shark. Joshua then proceeded to take the hook out. Once done, the shark continuously swam around him and at one time bumping into a camera, which he believes was the shark's way of saying thank you before the shark swam back out into the deep sea. President Donald Trump's healthcare bill failed to pass on last Friday, leaving Obamacare in place. Many Obamacare supporters are happy with the decision, and we will see what happens in the future with our healthcare. And that's it for news for today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this on All Aware.
You are listening to the All Aware podcast on the TrueRants Network.
And welcome back to All Aware. I am your host, Nathan Roshawn. Let's talk about universal laws. Now, we all have situations in our lives. We all have challenging times. We all have happy times. But why does that happen? Is it just life? Or is it something that we do? Is it that we're always concerned about ourselves and we don't necessarily care what happens to others? And that isn't quite how I want to put it, but is that what it is? Is it that we think that only by doing what's best for us at all times, regardless of the cost at other people, that's what we're supposed to do? Society has taught us to consume food, to consume electronics, to consume all these things, fashion, because we need to look better. We like food because it's comfort. We want to be attractive. So we buy and buy, thinking that it will make us look better for someone else, thinking that the food that we consume will make us happy inside. We buy cars and homes we can't afford. And sometimes we get jobs because we think it'll make us popular. And then sometimes we treat others in a way that if someone treated us like that, we would take offense. Because we're wired through our flawed society today to treat ourselves well and honestly treat others like crap. To be concerned with oneself but not be concerned with anyone else. But with the first law that we're going to talk about today, it should shed some light on why this is a flawed way of thinking. This is probably the most important law of all, and it supersedes all the other laws. I'm talking about the law of oneness. That's right. Life is all connected. All of us are connected. What we think, say, do, and believe will have a corresponding effect on others and the world around us. Yeah, that's true. So when you treat someone else in a way that you would not want to be treated, it does affect you. It does affect the local community, and it does affect the world. Everything that exists, seen and unseen, are connected to each other, inseparable from each other, to a field of one divineness. It's divine and all-knowing, the matrix, pure consciousness, and universal mind energy, or life force, is all one. So basically what I'm trying to say with that sentence is you are a divine being. We all are divine beings. And if you're religious, if you believe in a God, that essentially makes you a God, doesn't it? If you are created by a creator who gives you his will, gives you his life, makes you in his image, does that not make you a God? And if you are a God, that means that the things around you are in your control. That makes you a co-creator. And as a co-creator, you can also be a co-destroyer. So that means your mind is so important. That means your thoughts, your actions, your feelings, everything matters, not only to you, but to creation. So let's look at this a different way. If we're all connected, right? If we're all one, then why do we have separate emotions? Why do we have separate upbringings? Why do we seem different? Why are some people bad and some are good? Why is it that not everyone accepts you, maybe, or that you might not accept everyone else? Well, there are complicated answers to that, and then maybe there's some simpler ones. What I can think of off the top of my head is that comes down to personality. That comes down to upbringing, and that comes down to awareness. So some people may do things that you see as unkind, as you see as bad, as the society sees as breaking the law. But typically that happens because of the lack of another law we're going to talk about, and that's the law of love. But before we talk about that law, let's talk a little bit more about the law of oneness. So if everything's one, if we all are one, why is there so much hate in the world? Why are we not accepted by each other? Why is there racism, sexism, classism? Why is there a sense of government versus people when the people are the government? It all comes down to fear. Everyone is afraid of something because they don't understand this law. This is the law of creation. This is the law that created life. And even if you're not religious, this still applies. There's no way out of this law. Because even without religion, you have spirituality, and there still is a sense of a source. There has to be a source. So whether that is God or whatever, you want to call it, a star system or some scientific reasoning, evolution, there's a start, there's a point, there's a source, and that is what we all come from. And that is what makes us one. See, we classify and judge and compartmentalize and categorize every single person on this planet, which gets us away from this law. And we forget that we all come from the same source. We are all one species. And there's debates about that. There really are. There are debates that say that some humans, maybe all humans, were interbred with an alien species at some time in our previous existence. I'm not here to argue that or support that right now. But no matter what your answer is, your excuse is for humanity's varying cultures and looks, the source is still the same. Because even if that was the case, the source also applies to those aliens as well. No one's getting out of this. So the law of divine oneness, the most important of all, just states that we all are one. From one will return to one. And that being the source, that being creation, maybe that being consciousness. Maybe that's consciousness. Maybe that oneness that we all share is consciousness. You cannot see consciousness. You cannot touch consciousness. But we all know that consciousness exists. We all tap into something. It's that gut feeling that you get when maybe you don't think something's going to turn out right. And then lo and behold, your assumption was correct when that thing did not turn out right. Or maybe it's a connection you have with another person. Or maybe it's a connection that you feel towards an animal. Have you ever gone to an animal shelter or a dog pound or animal sanctuary and you felt drawn towards a certain animal? What is that? That's consciousness, which, I don't know, maybe that's the law of oneness. Maybe you sense something about that animal. Maybe that animal senses something about you and you connect. That's what we're talking about with this law. We're talking about just everyone being the same. Every living thing is the same. We all have consciousness. We all were created. We all live and we all die. This includes animals, plants, trees, everything down to bacteria. So when you're going out and when you're going around and you're interacting in this world, just remember the law of oneness. We all come from the same place, whatever that place may be. We all share similar challenges in this world as human beings, as well as some animals face those same challenges. Survival, food, water, protection of the young, motherhood, fatherhood, and the need to be loved. And that takes us to our next law we're going to discuss today. And that is the law of attraction. The law of attraction is a law that discusses how we create things, events, people that come into our lives, our feelings, our words, our actions, that all produce energies, which attracts like energies. Negative energies attract negative energies, and positive energies attract positive energies. Some people hear the law of attraction and they immediately just think of being attracted to another person or being attracted to another thing. Maybe your attraction is money. Maybe your attraction is a sports car. Maybe your attraction is a beautiful woman or a beautiful man that you have in your mind right now. But what attracted you to that person? Was it just looks, or is there something else? Everything is energy, including ourselves. And as I was saying, our thoughts, our feelings, the words we use, actions that we display and we produce, all are energy and all mold the world around us. If you remember from the law of oneness, we are co-creators. We are, let's call ourselves co-gods. We aren't the source. Well, we are the source, but we are an offshoot of the source. Source being life, source being creation. So what you think in your mind, and this is why your mind is everything to you. Your mind, scientists still have not figured out what the mind really is. Yeah, they can do surgical procedures on it to keep you alive. But we have stuff like Alzheimer's and dementia. Nobody knows exactly how that happens. They've developed some stuff to slow it down or to possibly stop it, but no one knows how. No one really knows what the mind is. When we think, when we ponder, when we question, when we argue, how do we come to those conclusions in our mind? How do we formulate the words and the thought processes? And how do we decide on what actions we want to take? It all comes down to the way you think, but where does thought come from? Probably consciousness would be my determination, but again, what is consciousness? It's not on this dimension. It's on another one that we tap into somewhere, somehow. And the law of attraction basically states that whatever you put out, whatever you seek, you will get. And this is one that we all struggle with. And for the longest time in my life, I struggled with the law of attraction because I've always been a very nice, considerate guy. And I've always done to others what I would want them to do onto me. In every situation, if I was on one side dealing with it, I would always think, what would I want on the other side? How would I want that person to react if the roles were reversed? That's always how I've always lived my life. And it's not a bad way, but you kind of set yourself up to attract whatever the other person wants in that regard, right? Because if I'm portraying myself as that person, say, I don't know, there's a argument at work about a task that's supposed to be completed. Another person was supposed to complete that task, and they thought I was supposed to complete that task, and we're arguing back and forth and showing each other, this is what manager said, blah, blah, blah. And I take on responsibility. But maybe I have paperwork that shows, this other person was supposed to take on the task. Now, arguing back and forth, we're not going to get anywhere. But by me, say I took blame for it and I took responsibility and I did the task and I also relieved the other person of any guilt or blame. I did that because in that situation, I would have wanted the other person to do that for me. But as it was going, that other person wasn't going to do that or didn't seem to want to have done that. So I did it. But I attracted that to me. And now anything that happens after that, due to that decision, is going to also be attracted to me. So let's say there's an issue. Maybe the report or the task was done incorrectly. Well, that falls on me now. Let's say maybe anything that happens further along down the road from that relates to that task, it all falls on me now. I've attracted that to me. And by trying to do the right thing, I created a situation that obviously I don't want to happen. Now, I'm just trying to give examples here of what I mean by this law. So, don't take that literally. Your thoughts. Have you ever wanted something? Have you ever, maybe you wanted something in your day to happen, but it never did. Maybe you had goals or plans that never came true. But while you were working on those goals or while you were anticipating something that happened during the day, did you ever have thoughts that were in direct conflict of what you wanted? I want a new car. I'm never going to get that new car. My job doesn't afford me enough finances to get that new car. I'm in debt. I have student loans. You're attracting the wrong things. You're living out of fear, which is negativity. And through the law of attraction, you are attracting the wrong things. Your words are powerful, and your words have meaning, and your words produce creation. They manifest into reality, into your reality. I like this certain person. I've always been attracted to this certain person. Maybe I've known this person for a while. Maybe they had a boyfriend or a husband or a wife, or maybe they have kids, or maybe they live in another state, another country, or maybe we work together but on opposite sides of the building. I'll never have that person. I'll never be able to go out with that person. They have a family. They have a husband. They have a wife. They have kids. They live on the other side of town. I'm not good enough for that person. My feelings don't matter. You've just created those results by your thoughts. And if you said them out loud like I just did, by your words. The law of attraction is very powerful. Those words are negative. And this universal law states that that's what you must want then. And so it sends that energy your way. And those things do not manifest. I want to live in a warm environment on a beach. I want a house. I want a job that I can be off and enjoying the weather, enjoying my friends and family when I feel necessary, that has more freedom. I don't want an 8-to-5 job. I want a 3-4 day a week job that I make enough money that it's like having a full-time job. But I'm 32 years old. I live in Ohio. I've tried to move out. I can't due to whatever situation I'd come up with. I can't live on a beach. I don't have a passport. I can't go out of the country. I just took away my dreams unintentionally by saying that. This is one of the most important laws that relates to our personal lives that we can learn about and understand and fix. It's a great law. But I guess a good point is about all these laws. You see, universal laws, they don't believe, there's no good, there's no bad, there's no, evil, there's no, whatever. There's just what is. They're kind of neutral. And they don't seek out revenge, and these laws don't have malice and revenge and all that stuff written in them. That doesn't exist. That only exists on our plane of existence. That only exists in our minds, and it only exists because we've believed that to be so. So when you're saying things that are negative and you're getting negative results, the energy behind the law doesn't know that that's negative. It's not out to get you. It's just what you asked for. You are a co-creator. Remember? In the law of oneness. And the creator asked for whatever it is that you felt and that you said. So yeah, if something doesn't seem possible in your world and you truly believe that, it's not ever going to happen because it can't. Not because the universe, your God or creation, it doesn't want to afford you those things, but because you yourself are blocking that from happening. So instead of saying you're not going to get that girl or that boy that you've always wanted, you're not going to have that family that you always wanted, or that you cannot live where you want to live, or you're not going to get a job that you want to get, instead of saying that stuff, saying the opposite of what you want, start saying what you want and living it like that. That's one thing that I've learned. Even if, like I said, right now it doesn't seem possible, you forget about that. That's just your fear talking. Start living like you have those things. Start living like those things will happen and are happening currently. And start saying that stuff in your head. Start saying, I will have my chance with that person. And if it's not that person, it will be a person of equal or better connection, better value for me. I will live on a beach one of these days. I'm going to live on a beach as soon as I can. I have the job that I need. And when a better job comes along, if I need to take that, I will take that. Everything is happening how I want it to happen. I am in control of my life. If you say that, the law of attraction will work for you. Make it your friend, not your enemy. Next, I think we should talk about vibration. Let's talk about the law of vibration. The law of vibration, in simple terms, is just stating that everything has a frequency. Everything vibrates with a certain frequency. Your DNA molecules, your genetic makeup, your body, your mind, your energy, it all vibrates at certain frequencies. And those vibrations turns it into matter. And the easiest way to understand this is just think of your emotions. When you're sad, when you're depressed, you vibrate at a lower frequency. You feel heavier. You feel more weighed down. And that's because you're vibrating. Your emotions, your energetic field is at a lower level. But then when you're happy, or when you experience love, or when you're having fun, or you're excited, you're elevated at a very high level, and you're going to feel less heavy. You're going to feel more pure. You're going to feel more joyous. And that has to do with your vibration. You're vibrating. Your molecules are vibrating at a higher level. And everything has vibration. And everything is all about vibration. Everything is about sound and vibration. If you look in the Bible and a lot of other teachings, a lot of times it says, in the beginning there was the Word, and the Word was good, or the Word was love. Variations. But in the beginning there was the Word. Word is what I'm speaking right now. Word is what you speak when you open your mouth and talk to others. Word is what birds do when they chirp, animals do when they growl, bark, or moo, or whatever they do. It's what makes things into matter. And a lot of times, just like with the law of attraction, this one overlaps. Through these vibrational frequencies, you attract other like-minded or frequency of the same level. Your energy is connected. So, when you're out in nature and you're walking or hiking through the forests, you're picking up that energy off the trees and off the wildlife and off the plants. And that's what makes you feel so good. Or when you're sitting on a beach chair right in front of the ocean, where you can look out and see just water for hundreds of miles as far as the eye can see, which, isn't hundreds of miles. It's probably 5 miles, but beyond that, there's still nothing but water. And it makes you feel good just looking at the water, because the water holds a vibration. That sand holds a vibration. That chair holds a vibration. You hold a vibration, and it all interacts with each other, which brings us back to the law of oneness. It all meshes together in like a symphony, a orchestra of sounds and feelings and vibration. And your mind vibrates too. Positive feelings equals positive circumstances. Negative feelings and thoughts equal negative circumstances. Have you ever maybe had a great day? Maybe, you came home and your significant other or your roommate or someone you live with didn't have such a great day. As soon as you walk in, you don't even have to look at them. You don't even have to have them open their mouth. What do you feel? Walking in like, oh man, so-and-so didn't have a good day. I can feel it, right? You can feel it. You had a better day. You're vibrating at a higher frequency. Your emotions are in check. And you walk in the door and you just feel it. Something isn't right. Maybe you walk in the room and you see them and boom, you knew it. They immediately start arguing or maybe explaining about what happened during their day that made them feel bad or made them agitated or angry. And boom, your good day now just became a bad day too. Because that denser energy, that heavier energy is obviously a lot heavier than the lighter energy, and so it weighs you down. Now you're upset. Now you're arguing. Now you're both not having a really good day. That you knew going in. You could feel it, right? That was the vibration. You were feeling the vibration. And that kind of sums up the law of vibration. But I guess it's important before I move on to the next one to point out that it's not just, living, it's not just organisms and mammals and living organisms that have vibration. Things that we create also have vibration. There's vibration behind what we create. And a lot of times that's why we are attracted to certain things too. There is vibration behind the people who build a house, the people who build a car. Maybe you design necklaces or wreaths or something for others. Design a product. When you design that product, is there love behind that? Is there care behind that? We always can tell. What if you go on vacation and you pull up to your hotel and this place sucks? I can just tell already. You get in your room, the room is just not what you wanted. It doesn't look like they put any care into it. Sheets might be dirty. Well, maybe they're clean, but you can just tell that the room is just, there's no care put into it, right? It's just depressing, right? You can tell that, Maybe you go to a bar or a restaurant and you walk in, you sit down, the waiter doesn't come over for 20 minutes. You get offended. There's no care. Maybe it's your favorite restaurant. Maybe you like the food, but somewhere along the way, that care has broken down. You don't want it anymore. Maybe you never go back. I've had that. I've had places that I liked who just completely bombed. I don't go back. Because to me, they don't care. So yeah, folks, that's the law of vibration. Like attracts like. Care can be seen. When you don't care, that can be seen as well. Everything has a vibration. Everything has, a purpose. And I want to discuss, let's see, what time do we have? Okay. I'm going to discuss one more law today. And then on the next episode, we'll finish the rest of the laws. And next week, we'll discuss the law of cause and effect and compensation and relativity. The last one that we're going to talk about today is the law of action. And this is a very important one too. The law of action basically states that for every action, there's a reaction. And for every event, there are actions that must be taken for stuff to happen. So, and it applies physically on the physical realm of our existence and in reality as much as it does mentally and energetically. So, the law of action states that you must do the things and perform the actions necessary to achieve what you are setting out to do. And unless you take actions that are in harmony with your thoughts and dreams and proceed in an orderly fashion towards what you want to accomplish, there will be absolutely no foreseeable results. It is here with the law of action that most people falter when pursuing success. It could be fear or laziness or just the simple inaction that gets in the way. When I first think about this law, I always think about driving. Okay? Because I see it all the time. I was a professional truck driver, and besides that, I've been driving since I was 15 and a half, and I have millions of miles under my belt because I was the dude with the car. So my friends always came with me, and I drove a lot, and I went to college an hour and a half away from my hometown. So when I came home to visit, I drove a lot back and forth. So it always makes me think of that. And accidents, we call them accidents, but there's an action and then there's a reaction. And if you don't react, then the action usually causes an accident. So in any accident, at some point, there was a way out. There was an action that could have been taken to prevent the accident. But what happens is, number one, either each person involved in that accident was waiting for someone else to do something and not reacting, or two, they froze out of fear, which and basically paralyzed themselves, which caused them to not act or react. Or number three, they just didn't care. But somewhere along the way, one of the people could have reacted in a different way. And it could have been at the very, very beginning, before the accident was even destined to happen. It could have been maybe when the person was driving down the road. Maybe they were texting on their phone. Well, if they weren't texting, the accident wouldn't happen. They were texting and lost and didn't pay attention, and it happened. Or maybe the person was fully content and driving like they were supposed to be, and somebody else made a maneuver that was an error and, needed a reaction to happen to prevent the accident. I guess I'm getting way too deep into this, but for every in that scenario, in a vehicle where an accident occurs, at some point there was always an out. That's what I call them. There was always a way out, a way to either mitigate, avoid, or prevent the accident, and that is the law of action in a way. Okay, let's get off of the accident thing. It's just always think about that when I think about this law. It's like the easiest way for me to understand this law. There's always something that could have been done to prevent an accident, and that was the action. But you can look at it on all levels of your life. You can look at it with a goal that you have set. We can talk about goals all the time. I have a friend who, I've had several friends everyone has people that they interact with that talk a lot, right? They have a big game and, talk. They want to start a company, or they want a promotion, or they want this or that, or they're good at this, or, they always had a dream of doing that, but they just never act on it, right? There's no action, so the event can't come true. If you want to start a business, you have to go out and start a business. If you want to learn a new trade, new skill, you need to go where you can learn that skill or that trade. If you want to have more friends or a more social life, you have to go out during the times and at the places where people with like minds want that too, and where that occurs. That's the law of action. Maybe you want to lose 50 pounds. You got to go to the gym. And if you can't go to the gym, you need to at least run around the block every day. You can't just sit on the couch and lose weight. You can fast, you can lower your portions of eating, I guess. But that's an action. You stopped eating. You can, I guess so there's ways you could sit on the couch and not run around the block to lose 50 pounds, but you're actually making another action there. So everything is an action. But for every action, there are reactions. So before you make an action, you should attempt to kind of figure out what a reaction would be. What are all the reactions that could happen? That's something that I do a lot of times when I'm trying to decide, and a lot of people do. You write down a list of do's and don'ts, right? Or you maybe just have it in your mind. You think, that's kind of this. If, you're writing down, if I want this result and I do this, this will happen, but these other things could be reactions, right? And if those reactions don't pan out for you, maybe it changes your mind about doing that action in the first place. An example I like to use, especially bringing back to my college days, most of us single people, we went out to bars, right? We would go to bars to try to pick up women or men, and that was our action. Our action plan was go out, get drunk, and then I'll be in a place where maybe I'll just stumble across a woman or a guy. With being drunk, maybe I'll be funny, maybe I'll have less cares to where I can goof off and maybe attract somebody. And being in a drunken state and them being in a drunken state, maybe we can just cut through the bull crap and go back to somebody's place, do a little thing, and suddenly now we are best of friends. That was our logic, right? But what are some of the reactions? Well, you could get so drunk that you pass out and have no idea how you get home. Maybe friends take you home. Maybe you end up in jail and in the drunk tank because of that. You could get in an accident on the way home. But you also could meet somebody special. You could end up waking up at somebody else's house. Maybe that's what you wanted to do. Maybe you lose a lot of money. But maybe you were so drunk that you started dancing on the bar top and you made a lot of money. But that was your game. That was your action. If you want to learn, you read books and you study. If you want to become a martial artist, you got to do martial arts. If you want to lose weight, you got to work out. Action, reaction. If you drive a car and you don't react to your surroundings, typically something not so pleasurable happens. And it involves metal crunching metal. Or metal crunching. Well, I won't say that, but anyways. So that's the beginning of our discussion on the laws of the universe, of universal laws. And I hope you guys liked it. I hope it wasn't too dry and boring for you. Give me a shout out. Let me know what you think about this episode and about what I'm talking about. Next time we're going to finish up here with the laws of attractions and the laws of the universe, universal laws. And after that, episode after that, we might have another guest on the program and continue talking about the spirituality stuff. And hopefully we'll have some good news to share then. So for All Aware in the TrueRants Network, I am your host, Nathan Roshawn, and you are all aware. Good night, everybody.
If you are a fan of this show and the TrueRants Network, visit us online at TrueRants.net.